Is the frame okay?
Yes.
Okay.
So hi Deepti. So today we have our guest of Ritu Rangam Film Festival 2021. This is Deepti DCunha, and she is associated with many festivals in India and worldwide. So I don't want to make, I don't want to take more times about telling about her. So she can tell a brief about the thing. So before Deepti, can you just tell your a brief introduction that people who are actually right now seeing you in our lab. So please tell a brief about you.
Oh gosh. Okay. Hi everyone. Well, I'm Deepti DCunha. I'm based in Mumbai, India. I'm a film programmer, and I essentially have an area of focus which is India and South Asia, which is my area of expertise. And I work for festivals, markets in India and internationally as well. In India, my biggest project is the NFDC Film Bazaar, which is South Asia's largest film market. This is where I actually set up a platform called the Viewing Room, which is a software where we have films of all lengths and genres, which are either just complete or in final stages of completion, where we present it to the international market of film professionals, that is, film festival programmers from various festivals from all around the world, or sales agents or distributors or buyers who want to watch the film at this stage, when it's just complete, and also for to investors, because there are some investors who are interested in gap financing of the finishing funds of certain films. And so we have been doing this for 10 years. It's a very successful platform, and we have just completed NFDC Film Bazaar online, in fact, in January, where we had 193 films despite COVID. Otherwise, we usually have 250 films. And all the films all get great international exposure. Um, so a good thing I would say for all budding filmmakers is don't immediately start thinking of film festivals. Do think of film markets, because really festivals are a platform where you screen films for audiences, but you should be aware that there is a platform called a market, which is a professional platform where you might be able to meet the right person or professional who will be able to guide you on how to do festivals. So as a film programmer, I am actually not the right person to give you a strategy or to tell you more about festivals, because what my work is that I am associated with a limited number of festivals. And there are festivals in almost every country in the world. So the scope is really huge. And it's not possible for a film programmer to know that, because what we do is that, or what I do is, I basically, being a programmer for India, South Asia, my job is to actually source entries from filmmakers from India and South Asia for festivals that are interested in programming films from this region. Now, we have to be very realistic and understand that India, for the longest time, is not an important country for film festivals. That is because we
Yes.
have our own mainstream audiences, and we have our a very strong market for our own films. So Indian films usually even have a strong diaspora market. So we have not really explored festivals which are in countries where there is no Indian population. So most Indian filmmakers are interested in going to festivals only so that they can come back to India and show it to Indian audiences, because Indian audiences are very curious to know, okay, why did someone like my film in France, like this film in France, or why did someone like, so there is a baggage that India has, which unfortunately we've not been able to shake off, is that we like to be discovered by other countries. We do not value being discovered by our own country. So but there is the what film festivals can also give you is it can give you an alternate way of making money by charging screening fees. Now, all of this you will only learn if you submit your film to a market. And also, like the word signifies, market means it is exactly like how you understand a market. When you don't know your buyer, you go to a market to sell your thing, your product or your film. So the thing is that when you go to a market, you're open to interactions with anybody. It's not targeted specifically. You meet all kinds of people, you learn a lot. So so this is basically what I do at NFDC Film Bazaar, is also encouraging filmmakers to bring their films to the market. Usually the Film Bazaar is the first experience of a market for many Indian filmmakers, and it is modeled around world markets. So from the past 10 years, I've seen that many filmmakers who've had their first exposure to NFDC Film Bazaar, they quickly understand that this is how a market works. And then you feel more confident to then go to Cannes or Berlin or Toronto and then take your film there. You have to understand people are not going to come to India to look for films. If you're a filmmaker and if you're a producer, you have to take the initiative of traveling or taking your films abroad. So that's what I do in India.
Yes. So, Dipti, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
So, you just said that about the France market. So, you are actually South Asian consultant about, of Directors Fortnight of Festival de Cannes. So, can you tell a brief about the people who are actually planning for their first movie or the second film, or like a thing, how they can prepare? Is there any strategy, or is there any specific conditions that they have to follow to submit their projects to this kind of a market or this kind of a segment?
So, apart from NFDC Film Bazaar, I also program for international film festivals, out of which what you said right now, in fact, I'm currently sourcing, and I'm a correspondent for Directors Fortnight Cannes. Now, I would just suggest that whenever any of you have any queries, we are really, really lucky that we have something called Google and we have something called Wikipedia. So I would say that without hesitation, please try to read up about what is Cannes. Go to Wikipedia, because Cannes is it's a little complicated. It's not that there are different festivals in this place called Cannes, and you have to be able to decide. And ideally, if you have a film ready, you should be submitting to all the festivals, because you never know how you are going to, which festival is going to select your film. My favorite analogy is that if you want to go to a college in the US, you know are you going to be very choosy about the colleges that you apply for, or will you apply to a broader range? Because then you never know, the competition is exactly the same. There are filmmakers from all over the world. So Directors Fortnight Cannes is actually a parallel section, a sidebar of the main Cannes official Cannes festival. It happens at Cannes itself. There are It's very, very difficult to get into Directors Fortnight Cannes, because there are only 20 slots. And you can imagine something like 4,000 films that are
Yes.
actually competing. Critics Week has something like 7 slots. Cannes will have something like 60 slots. So you have to literally, the mindset is make the film the best way you can, and then you apply, and then just assume you're rejected, and so that you don't feel really, don't wait in anticipation. It's
Yes.
literally, the chances are like getting a lottery. But if you go to a film market before, you get a sense at least of whether your film can compete, what are the other Indian films made in that year. So you'll have a realistic understanding that, should I really spend that much money and apply for this festival? If you go to a market, you get a sense of it, because which films you're competing with. But if you're
Yes.
just not going to a market and you're going to apply and you're going to pay the $100 or euros, and then you're going to wait hoping that it is the same hope as trying to get a lottery, winning a lottery. So you have to be very realistic about these things. It's not to dissuade you, but to say that be realistic, and realize the world is a big place, and Indian filmmakers. And also you need to go to know whether your film will fit into that section festival or not. A good example would be to uh, go back to the films that were programmed earlier. So in today's day and age, you cannot afford to be a filmmaker who doesn't know what's happening in the world of
Yes.
world cinema. So go to Directors Fortnight, see in the past 10 years, which are the films they program? Do you think your film will fit there? If you don't recognize any of the names there, then no one can help you, really. You know, you have to be more aware what your contemporaries are doing if you want to compete. And you have to remember something, that film festivals are essentially about competition. You are competing, whether it's a non-competitive segment or it's a competitive segment. You might not be in real competition in the festival, but to be programmed in the festival, you have already competed with thousands of other films.
Yes, yes. So, so this is the last question, I think. So many people who are actually now seeing you, so many people have their, I think they actually should first time interact with this word called film programmer. So if anyone, any point of time at his or her career wants to be a film programmer in future, what is your tip to them? That how you become a film programmer? Because it's very much
Well,
new thing to them.
yeah. Well, you have to realize that one tip is that make sure that you don't have to pay rent, because film programming does not pay your rent at all in any city. It's a very low paid job. So think about getting into programming only if you think that you don't require the money that will come from programming. You know, the other tip I would say is that have another, think about how to back up your career. Like there have been, I think I'm the only professional programmer I know, which means that I program all around, at international festivals and Indian
Yes.
festivals, and I'm only programming all year round. But all my seniors and contemporaries have a second, source of income, or a second, and they also have another skill, which is that most of them are great film critics. They've gotten into programming out of their love of film criticism, but it's the film criticism that pays their bills. So you have like Meenakshi Shetty, you have Asim Chabra, you have Uma Dikuna, who used to do even she was a casting director,
Yes.
a very big casting director. So you can use your film skills that way. You can get into development. You can, if you're good with scripts, you can get into advising films. But I think being a film programmer and actually trying to be a film festival advisor is a little messy, because there is a conflict of interest in that. Like
Yes.
I am programming for Directors Fortnight Cannes. I cannot promote Cannes and Venice.
Yes.
I have to promote my festival, so it's very awkward for me to tell someone, oh, don't submit here. I think you should go to Toronto, or I think you should go to Venice, because I am not then sticking to what I am supposed to do. So I would say that, but there's also something called sales agents, which is not really started in India.
India.
But,
Yes.
sales agents also are technically people who know programming, but they're more interested in the business aspect of it. So they are able to strategize festivals very well for a film, because they understand that after a film goes to a festival, how can the film make a sale and how much money the film can actually get. We from India are so bad at like we think we go to a festival and that's all that we have
That's
to
all.
do. We
Exactly.
don't know how to monetize an opportunity, and that's where sales agents come in. So that is also a possibility, but also there are programming now out of OTT platforms. You don't have to only program for festivals. You have OTT platforms. So what is programming? Programming basically means that a event or a organization, in an institution who wants to show films, has a certain vision as to why they want to show films. That vision is then informed to the programmer. The programmer skills is basically to be able to bring films like that, watch all the films, and be able to identify that which ones would fit the vision of that festival. So if I'm programming for Directors Fortnight, it's a very different selection. I mean, it won't be the same as if I'm doing a Chicago South Asian. It won't be the same when I was doing MAMI, because MAMI has 30 films. In viewing room, I have
Yes.
190. In Directors Fortnight, maybe I have one. So it's a very different, and it's also what they're looking for is very different. Like, for example, if you're programming for an LGBT festival, then of course you have to take the LGBT angle into
LGBT
account.
films.
If you're going to program for a genre festival, you have to be able to see that. So it's basically you have to understand the needs of the festival, and then you take the work on of actually watching the films and making a broad shortlist, either for the selection committee or for the festival director. But it depends on what each festival asks you to do.
Yes, yes. So thank you. Thanks for having with us. And it's a
Yeah.
great conversation with you that many of filmmakers, even me also, that were enlightened that what you are just saying and telling the actually back end stories of the film programming and the festivals kind of thing. So thank you. Thanks for all and having a
All
great
the
day.
very best. And I'm not on Facebook, but if anyone has made a film, I just want to say that I do not give feedback on films. So do not send me a link of your film and say, please watch and give feedback. That is not the job of a programmer. But you can send me an email and say that I have made a film and I will keep it in my database and I'll add your email address in my database. So whenever I'm calling for entries, then you read the entry, you read the rules and regulations. You, as an independent filmmaker, decide this is a festival I want to try for. I don't want to try for. I'm not going to advise you on that because my job is to get as many films. I'm never going to tell you
Yes.
don't submit, you know. So you make the decision on your own. But if you want to be a part of my database, then Diganta, you can give them my email address and you can inform me that you've made a film.
Sure,
Okay,
sure, sure.
and all the
Thank
very best. And hope to
thank you,
see all
Deepti.
of y'all at the Film Bazaar.
Yeah, yeah,
Do
yeah, yeah.
come and experience a market.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay,
Thank you. Thanks,
most
Deepti.
welcome. Yeah,
Thank you.
bye.